NFL Live. If that doesn't get you fired up, Hannah Storm, Mina Kimes, Tim Hasselbeck, and Peter Schrager. So let's get started with some schedule release news. Guys, Monday Night Football is going to kick things off September 14th with division rivals, the Broncos and the Chiefs. Such a good matchup to kick off our Monday night coverage. And after failing to make the playoffs for the first time since 2014, those Chiefs with some changes at the offseason. Their offensive coordinator replacing Matt Nagy. They bring back Eric Bieniemy. They signed Justin Fields as a backup for insurance after Patrick Mahomes tore his ACL and LCL in December. And of course, they signed the Super Bowl MVP Kenneth Walker. So Mina, GM Brett Veach said that Mahomes is way ahead of schedule, could maybe participate in OTAs on a limited basis. So let's assume he's healthy for most of the season. Have the Chiefs done enough to return to contention?
Offensively, I don't know. They're really betting on that run game improving. But defensively, I do think the Chiefs did a good job addressing one of their biggest weaknesses last year, which was the lack of a consistent pass rush. This was still a team that blitzed a ton, fourth highest rate in football under Steve Spagnuolo. But when they did blitz, they weren't getting home. 25th in pressure rate, 27th in sack rate. And it feels like with some of the additions they made in the draft, two of their top three picks being defensive linemen, Peter Woods and R. Mason Thomas, they really want to improve the speed on that front and perhaps lean more on the four-man rush to put less pressure on the secondary. So while the loss of two of the starting cornerbacks, with Trent McDuffie, of course, and Jalen Watson, will be felt, I do think the addition of Mansour Delane will help in that regard. And on top of that, I think the pass rush being better should help them on the back end. It was a nice gift for Steve Spagnuolo.
I mean, I think I feel the same way in terms of just that reluctancy to say, yeah, offensively they're going to be better. I mean, clearly they've given some attention to the running back position with the investment in Kenneth Walker, but with, the moves being, primarily on the defensive side of the ball, especially through the draft, it seems a little odd to me that they're kind of banking on that receiving group, with Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice and Tyquan Thornton to play better than they have in past years. And then obviously, just some off the field concerns with Rashee Rice, and you're doing that all while Patrick Mahomes is coming off of a major knee injury. And look, who knows, maybe he'll be back, but when he's back, will he be the Patrick Mahomes that we remember right away? And if he's not, are you supporting Justin Fields with enough talent around him to kind of hold things together until Mahomes does get back? So I will say I'm a little bit surprised that there wasn't more moves on the offensive side, but I do think that Andy Reid is probably banking on he and Eric Bieniemy and the coaching staff on that side to get things back to the way they were really, probably 3 years ago. Yeah, but still some legitimate questions that you bring up, and a question still for this game on Monday night, because we don't know exactly where the location is going to be. Is it going to be in Denver? Is it going to be in KC? But Peter, you were at the league offices today for the Pat McAfee show, so pull the curtain back for us a little bit. I mean, what did you learn about this process and what is still being decided?
Well, it's interesting, Hannah. In one room, we were filming the McAfee show, and then literally in the conference room next door was the team that makes up the schedule, and they were still hard at work. It's almost like there's a bunch of chefs in the kitchen, and I'm just peeking in. Is it ready yet? Is it ready yet? And it wasn't ready yet. And then by the end of the day, Roger Goodell did come in and say, now we finally have an official schedule that he's comfortable with. Bizarre, though, that they would announce that Monday Night Football opener is between the Chiefs and the Broncos, but we don't have a location yet. Very strange, meaning there was something that still had to come together, but now we do know that at least they feel like internally there they have an answer. I'll say this, when you put these two teams in week one, what it does is it gives us more of a talking point on will Mahomes be ready. And Mina, I know you're competing in Celebrity Jeopardy. You've reached the final round. I'm fired up. I'm rooting for you over Katie Nolan. I'm rooting for you over Lisa Ann Walter. But the question we're going to be dealing with all offseason is, will Mahomes be ready? Will Mahomes be ready? Will Mahomes be ready? And I almost wonder if they purposely dropped this on week one for us to have a talking point for all of August and for us to be looking around and asking everyone, because quite personally, I'm tired of talking about Aaron Rodgers, and at least now there's something else to be wondering as we do our work towards week one.
So, wait, if we're going to answer that with a question, Mina, would it be who is the starting quarterback for the Chiefs week one? Is that how we would answer that if we got the buzzer on time?
Well, I would say who is Patrick Mahomes, hopefully, is the answer. But because if it's not, that game's certainly going to lose some of its luster.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Moving on, new on NFL Live, Bengals head coach Zach Taylor spoke this afternoon on the impact of the additions that Cincinnati has made on defense this season.
I think it has been an impact that I was shocked that he was here every day, right after we traded for him, that he just chose to jump right in and not miss a day initially. I think when you get access to a tremendous player like him, like Jonathan Allen, like William Mafe, in addition to all the guys up front that have already been in the system, young guys, older guys, it's just exciting. And just to add reinforcements to the trenches like that is good for a guy that calls plays on offense too.
Okay, Peter, shameless plug time. You had Zach Taylor on the Schrager Hour last week. What was your biggest takeaway, though, from that conversation?
That they made a very concerted effort to spend money on the defensive side of the ball. Obviously, the Dexter Lawrence trade is huge, but when you add in Jonathan Allen and Brian Cook and Boye Mafe, this was them telling the rest of the world, we see a window and we think this is where we need to beef up. What was fascinating that I didn't realize until I spoke to Zach, they have 11 starters returning on offense. So they kind of were like, we feel pretty good here. And then in the draft, they went and got Cassius Howell, who was the SEC Defensive Player of the Year, to add on to that list of players that they had. But when it came down to it, the Dexter Lawrence trade was as follows. They wanted a defensive tackle. They looked at the draft. There was no one worthy of the 10th overall pick. So they went 1 for 1 and they said, we'll pay an extra bunch of $1 million to bring in Dexter Lawrence. The hope is that they have a veteran defense that can now compete with 3 other teams in that division who have new head coaches.
This should be one of the most improved defensive lines in football. And granted, it was 32nd in pass rush wins, so the bar is not particularly high. But Peter's right about Dexter Lawrence. I mean, even in last year being a down year and he played through some injuries, he was still the second most double-teamed defensive tackle in the NFL. Boye Mafe, who they signed from Seattle, is a really complete edge. He's very good against the run, very consistent. We're going to see if he can contribute more in the pass rush with more snaps. And then I think on the back end, the Brian Cook signing kind of flew under the radar, but he is a competent safety. And they've got some talented young corners. After moving Dax Hill to the perimeter, I really thought his play improved. If I have one question about this defense, I do still think this linebacker group is a big question mark and a concern. But realistically, given how good the Bengals offense is and should be, all the defense has to be is average. And when I look back at the depth chart, I actually think they are capable of meeting that mark.
Yeah, I mean, clearly they needed to focus on the defense with how it performed a year ago, and they have. And I think all of us expect them to be better. The concern I have, just organizationally, when you and Joe Burrow health-wise, he's been in the league 6 years. He's started the entire season just 3 times in 6 years. That's half of the time he's been in the league. And in that stretch, they've only had double-digit wins twice. It's just not been a good organization. And a lot of it has been because the quarterback can't stay healthy. And some of it is, things outside of his control, or, injured or sick at the beginning of the season, or, an ACL injury that is a long period of time, a thumb injury. It just feels like, in some ways for me, it feels like Matthew Stafford early on in Detroit. While there's talent on the team, and you think, wow, this team could be really good. They could be really good. This quarterback is definitely Super Bowl caliber quarterback, but man, they just organizationally can't get it done, can't be competitive with the elite organizations in the league. That's just what it's starting to feel like to me with Burrow's era in Cincinnati.
That's an interesting comp. Of course, later everything worked out for Stafford, but that was because of a change in location. All right, we are just going to revisit the Week 16 matchup between the Packers and Bears.
I think it's going to be an unbelievable atmosphere. 2 really good teams late in December go at it for a lot at stake.
It's our time! It's our time to get it! Let's go!
Snap is back, spot is down. Cairo Santos kicks it is up, and it is good! 16-9. It's a one-score game once again. Santos bouncing the ball around, it's not picked up. Let's see who's got it. Bears ball, they've recovered an onside kick. Caleb Williams with Swift to his left, takes the snap, blitzes on, being chased, got a lot of touchdown! Are you kidding me? That throw to Jayden Walker. Willis with a one-back set. They fumble the snap. It is Bears football.
Let's go in the game, my boy. Yep.
You got that belief, you got that confidence, you got that swagger as offense.
Snap. Caleb, play fake, looking to throw, going deep, searching for DJ Moore, over the shoulder, touchdown Bears! It's over at Soldier Field. The Iceman cometh, the Iceman taketh.
What a great call, by the way, at the end of that game. All right, now we're talking Packers, coming off a third straight playoff berth. Haven't won a division title since 2021. And for 2026, Jonathan Gannon, he takes over as defensive coordinator. He replaces Jeff Hafley, who, as you know, is now the head coach of the Dolphins. He has additions Javon Hargrave, Zaire Franklin is there, and second-round cornerback Brandon Cisse as well. So they trade away their first-round pick for Micah Parsons. They use 4 of their remaining picks on defense. Peter, what do you make of that overhaul there in Green Bay?
Well, I'm still getting goosebumps from that highlight reel, and I would take 2 Monday night games on ESPN between these two teams if the schedule makers are listening. I look at the defense, and it's fascinating because Hafley goes to Miami, and now you bring in Jonathan Gannon, and they do not run the same defense. Whereas Hafley ran like an aggressive 4-3 with that even front. Jonathan Gannon is more of that Fangio style, where it's going to be mixed, it's going to be 3-4, and it really is going to be contingent, a lot of that, on that front seven and how they can handle things with Gannon. What's interesting is on third down, you would always see Hafley throw some like exotic blitz out there when Jonathan Gannon's defense typically is like, hey, let's trust our front 4 and let's drop 7 back in coverage, Vic Fangio style. So it's a little bit in the weeds, but same Jimmys and Joes, and I guess you add in Zaire Franklin and you add in Hargrave, that's fine. But a different defense and a different person calling the shots. I'm fascinated to see if it's better or worse this time around than it was last year with Hafley, which, by the way, was pretty darn good.
Yeah, different X's and O's. All right, so Mina, on the other side, they only take one offensive player. They take a center in round 5 in this defensive-heavy draft. Do you think overall they did enough offensively to set themselves up?
I think the skill group should be fine, but with a caveat or a question mark. When is Tucker Kraft going to be back and be available? Is it going to be week 1? I think this is maybe not as big